Este capítulo está dirigido a criticar.
This chapter is devoted to a critique of alternative economic theories formulated with the aim of interpreting and understanding why economic cycles occur. These theories differ from the ones we have explored in class. There are basically two doctrines: Keynesian economic theories, which get their name from the English economist John Maynard Keynes, who originally developed them, and monetarist theories, which for the most part were developed by neoclassical theorists in general and by the Chicago School in particular.
Monetaristas y keynesianos, desde nuestro punto de vista,
From our point of view, both monetarists and Keynesians belong to the same general school,
son
the
teóricos
school of macroeconomic theorists. These theorists practice economics based on aggregates, which they consider to be statistically measurable.
que se encuentran ambas.
According to Mises, both schools fall into the pre-scientific stage of economics,
Todavía no se había
the
producido la
stage before the subjectivist revolution, which began with Karl Menger and introduced the subjectivist viewpoint, that is, the application of the theory of marginal utility to explain the value of goods in general and of money in particular.
bienes y en particular el valor del dinero. La revolución
The subjectivist revolution, which began with Menger, framed economic science in such a way that all economic laws could be traced to individual human action.
hasta la revolución
Prior to the subjectivist revolution, classical economists failed dismally to explain what determined the value of things.
qué es lo que determinaba el valor de las cosas.
Why?
Porque solo con
Because they conceived economic science solely in terms of classes and aggregates.
no entendían por qué
They did not understand why gold was worth more than iron or bread, when bread is obviously more useful than gold or diamonds.
oro o los diamantes. El problema que
The
tenía-
problem these theorists had was that they were conceiving economics in terms of aggregates, and they were asking the wrong question. When it comes to individual human action, no one, or almost no one, encounters a situation in which he must give up all bread in exchange for gold or diamonds. Instead, human decisions and actions are always incremental. 1 unit more in exchange for 1 unit less. And in terms of incremental actions and decisions, if we have many units of bread available to us, we may value bread very little in comparison with another good, for instance, gold, of which we have very few units. The value of every unit is determined by the subjective appreciation the actor assigns to the last unit of the good in question, a unit he considers fully interchangeable with the rest and relevant in the context of his action. If we gain or lose 1 more unit of bread, and we have many loaves, the satisfaction we gain or lose is very slight. That is why we find little marginal utility in bread. If we had to decide between giving up all bread or all gold, we would clearly choose to keep the bread before we died of hunger. However, human actions always involve 1 unit more or 1 unit less. They are marginal. They are decided on at the margin, and hence the value of things is determined by marginal utility.
que obsesionaba a los economistas clásicos.
This is how the paradox of value, which obsessed classical economists, was resolved. I repeat, because these economists conceived economic science in terms of aggregates and classes, they were never able to solve the paradox. They did not understand why bread, though in general more useful than gold, was worth much less. But now, thanks to the subjectivist revolution led by Karl Menger in 1871, we can understand why that is so. For human actions always hinge on incremental or marginal units of a good. The real paradox lies in the fact that these two schools, the monetarists and the Keynesians, who persist in clinging to outdated ideas, have continued to survive. They still think in terms of aggregates, classes, alleged quantities that are out there and can be statistically measured, like the general price level, effective demand, etc. And they are not able to root their economic doctrines in individual human action. Therefore, we will see that this aggregate approach macroeconomists use, whether the monetarist version or the Keynesian version, fails miserably to explain what is really happening.
De interpretar qué es lo que sucede en la realidad.